has already been wrong, and they've heard it. But in the dark, among the stars, they know that God is dead.
Yeah. So now let me change from a lyric to spit. Just like we didn't change SNYDER's vision to shit. Cause man, there's no clue about DC Comics. And man, what the hell was with Superman's lit? I can't even watch it. It's such a disgrace. I really wish Zeus would punch shots in the face.
What's up, everybody? Izzo. Welcome to the first live stream for SNYDER AVE. And how's everybody doing? Let me see if anybody's even here. It doesn't look like it yet. But that's cool because I figure it's my first live stream. So hopefully a lot of you guys will probably just end up realizing I did this later and go back and watch it later. So I wanted to get into my broke down review of the Suicide Squad because I'm sure, as a lot of you guys know, if you saw me on ACS on Friday and have seen my tweets in the last couple days, I wasn't too happy with Suicide Squad, to say the least. So I went back and watched it a second time because, number one, I wanted to go back in and watch it again with an open mind because I felt like maybe it was possible I was too hard on it the first time because, you know, I'm partial, I guess, because of the Snyderverse and all that stuff. But then watching it the second time, I wanted to take notes on it because I was planning to do this video or stream or whatever eventually. And I slept through a lot of it the second time. So then I went back and watched it a third time, and I slept through a lot of it the third time too. But at least with the two times put together, I slept at different times. So I ended up getting all the notes I wanted for the whole movie to talk about this. And I don't plan on watching it again. It was honestly, it kind of sucks sitting through it the second and third times, even with the naps. And I realized watching it the second and third time too, that all the reasons that I didn't like it in the first place were legitimatized, or whatever the word would be for that, in my head at the time. So, you know, and I also realized that it's not about the Snyderverse to me. Sorry, let me get a sip of my espresso here. It's not about the Snyderverse to me. That's not my problem with this movie. My problem with this movie is the fact that I'm a fan of the comic books. And I really have been since the New 52 started. Which is pretty much the reason the Suicide Squad got popular again in the first place, the reason that we're fighting for the Ayer cut, the reason the 2016 Suicide Squad happened was because of the New 52's reboot of it. And that's why Harley's in it. That's a lot of stuff, you know. And this movie felt nothing like that. I mean, I even give Studio Squad more credit where that's concerned. And, you know, for anyone, I'm sure everyone that would watch this would know what Studio Squad means. But for anyone that doesn't, just in case, that is what a lot of us people in the Snyderverse fan community refer to the 2016 version of Suicide Squad. We call it Studio Squad because it's not David Ayer's movie. And that's why you see release the Ayer cut hashtags everywhere, because we want to see David Ayer's Suicide Squad, not the version that the studio gave to a trailer company and had hacked together back then. So, hey, what's up, Ryan? What's going on? You're the first person here. I'll never forget that. First person in my live chat is Ryan Rivera. What's up, man? So yeah, so I'm just going, even though no one's here yet, Ryan, I'm just going through the show because I figure people end up realizing I did this later and go back and watch it, hopefully. You know what I mean? If you want to jump in, I'll send you the link, but I just want to go through my little list that I have here of points of the movie real quick. Because I purposely haven't looked at them since I wrote them down, because my plan was to go through them as I did this live stream, and rather than being rehearsed, just kind of remember the reasons I was distasteful with the movie as I watched it as I go. And there's 4 pages of it, so it's a little bit of a list here, but I'm just going to go through the bulletin points real quick and chime in if anybody wants to, if anybody else comes in or anything. Okay, so the Suicide Squad review points. Number one, the whole beginning. Okay, cool, Ryan, cool. Number one, the beginning, everything happens too fast for me. Happens way too fast for me. Belle Reve doesn't feel like Belle Reve to me. It feels like they're just in a regular county jail or something compared to when in David Ayer's movie. It felt like Belle Reve from the comic books or something, you know. I mean, they didn't even show like the skull face on the wall or any of that going in the beginning. And then at 3 minutes in, I even clocked it watching the movie. I think it's like 3 minutes 11 seconds into the movie, we get this slow-mo shot of the Suicide Squad of this movie walking out in slow motion, and it's like, this is 3 minutes and 11 seconds into the movie. Why the fuck am I supposed to care about these people in this slow motion shot? Basically, is how I felt about it. It wasn't earned. I have written down here. Yeah, that's exactly like it wasn't earned. However, when they get on the plane, the interaction between Harley and Boomerang was one of my probably one or two favorite parts of this movie. Is just their whole conversation, the joking around when she's telling them, like, you know, lay off of Pete Davidson or like whoever he's making fun of at the time. But then like a second later, you hear them like they're betting on the people with the folders in the office, and you hear them say that like Harley never worked with Digger before. And I'm like, what the fuck's up with that? Like, it's like, so it's like they're honoring the Ayer cut and then at the same time making it clear it's a different Earth or something. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. I don't know why they said that, or maybe it was just they were supposed to be stupid. But if they're that stupid, why are they working for Waller? So no matter how you slice it down, it's a bad point to me. Everyone in the movie comes off way too talkative and nice right from the jump. It's like these are supposed to be the fucking bad guys, is how I look at it. The Suicide Squad comic book isn't a fucking comedy, and it's not how I see the Suicide Squad. And the Ayer cut, I feel like or not, the Ayer cut doesn't exist yet, but I'm saying even Studio Squad, while they tried to make it like a James Gunn movie, I felt like back then the stuff that Ayer shot, it still felt way more grounded. It felt way more real. It felt way more like DC. This just felt like a comedy action movie with DC characters in it by name. So, oh, when they jump in the water, I noticed too, this might be a little bit of a nitpick, but I'm like, they all have guns, they all have walkie-talkies, they all have earpieces. Like, why are they all just jumping into the ocean in their regular clothes if they're like a secret government squad? Like, why isn't there like scuba gear or anything? That was just a little, I mean, I know that's a stupid nitpick, but still, it's like, how does any of their shit work after they get it all waterlogged? I don't know. I was just thinking about that. Let me see. I'm trying to skip it because there's some stuff that I was probably a little nitpicky about that I'm going to skip as I go through. Yeah, but that's my point. After that whole opening scene with the plane, them jumping in, the way they came out of the prison, like everything happened too fast, and I felt like in the first version, like because of Ayer, like the military stuff seemed more real to me in the first one. Like I feel like them having some kind of like scuba gear for that jump and that mission would have been the kind of like attention to detail Ayer would have paid attention to and shit like that. Like that it just felt fake, you know what I mean? It just felt what's like TV show quality or something to me, you know? Like it didn't feel like the epicness that the DC universe should be in any way, shape, or form. Who's running today? Let me pop these. I can click these and put them on the screen, right? There we go. I don't hate it, but definitely don't love it. Yeah. I'm trying not to hate it. I really am. Hate's a strong word. So yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not saying I hate it, but I just made this list as I went through the movie because I know I'm accused of being a Snyder fan. I'm accused of being a cultist, and that's why I don't like this movie or something. So I really went through and like looked at all my points for why I didn't like the movie. Yeah, like I just said, the whole beach scene, it's like TV show, phony. Mungal scene so bad. I have that written down. And for some reason, when Waller blows, whatchamacallit, when Waller blows dude's head off, what's his name with the white hair? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. The guy she blows his head up. It's like for some reason she cares. Like I think I've heard you say this, Ryan, on your stream or whatever. I don't understand why she hesitates at all there. I like it's like this like number one, he was on the A team that got sent to the beach to get slaughtered, basically. So why is she like, damn, like this dude that ran away, I had to kill him, you know? Like it's just the beginning of several things that don't make sense as we go along here. Oh, Savant, yeah, okay. Yeah, I say Savant runs, Waller gives a shit for some reason. And then the whole Basketball Diaries, the Jim Carroll song, you know, like that, the people who died. For those that don't know, if you've ever seen the movie Basketball Diaries, the lyrics to that song are what that movie's about. Like Leonardo DiCaprio plays him, the person that wrote that song as a teenager, basically, is what that movie's about. It's a good movie. But yeah, that song, I feel like after when that song comes on at the end of that opening scene, I feel like that whole opening scene was to service that song, like in James Gunn's creative process. That's just the way the whole thing comes off to me. That like all these nobody characters were just thrown in, and like he had the idea of the song first, and basically wanted to make a music video with the intro build up movie part or something like that whole opening sequence. You know, like I don't know. And I feel like a lot of scenes in the movie were like that like maybe in it like Gunn, it's almost like he's picturing music videos throughout the movie in his head, you know, like with certain songs. Killing Boomerang was ass. I was very pissed about that because it's like we haven't even seen the full potential tap between Boomerang and Flash. And we already have two good actors built up in the universe on separate sides that like them meeting up seemed eventual, you know what I mean? Like we all probably wanted to see it happen in some way. If they ever put the Rogues together, we all wanted Jai Courtney's Boomerang to be part of it. I mean, that's like having the Rogues, you know, it's like you gotta have Captain Boomerang as part of the Rogues. He's one of the like not interchangeables of the Rogues, you know. And then let's see. The daughter. Okay, yeah. So like Bloodsport and Belle Reve, the daughter. The whole thing felt like dead, like it was Deadshot's. It's what they wrote for Deadshot, and then they decided to make it Bloodsport, and they tried to change a couple intricacies of it, but it felt like it was the part Will Smith was supposed to play or something. Not that I'm knocking Idris Elba at all. I think Idris Elba is an amazing actor. And I think this was a total waste of his talent in the first place. That like he could have played a way better DC character rather than Bloodsport, which is a pretty obsolete character in the comics, honestly. Yeah, hold on, let me see. If I put the link in the chat here, you can just hit it, right? Because I got it like copied already that I could paste it. Let me see. Does that do the trick? Yo, what's up, Truth? What's going on, brother? I'm going through my Suicide Squad punch list here. Let me know if the link doesn't work or something, because I'll just like DM it to you on Twitter if I have to. Let me know if you guys hear me okay too. I always worry that that's like fucked up for some reason. I got a decent ass mic, but I don't know. I'm not used to using it to like talk like I'm on TV or something. I use it to record songs usually, you know. So yeah, where was I at in this list here? I see say, but then cares. Oh, and yeah, and then when they're in the jail and they're coming out, like, and she's like, "Let me introduce you to the team." After the whole him putting the thing up to her neck and all that shit. Thanks, Truth. I see that everything's perfect. Thanks, brother. Whatchamacallit. So then when they're coming out, I'm like, why the fuck is like Peacemaker just standing in his cell ready, you know, and like bang, bang, bang with the quips. As soon as he comes into the picture, it's like, let's get into this cheesy fucking TV show narrative that, like, in my opinion, brought Idris Elba down as an actor, kind of like being subjected to doing that with John Cena. But you know, whatever is what it is. What you call it? And then the bad jokes began. why is King Shark dumb, which is one of my biggest issues, because I feel like King Shark shouldn't be dumb. Like he's not dumb in the comic books. He's not like a fucking idiot like that. Like there have been some iterations where he's like not the brightest beer in the six pack, you know what I mean? But like he's not dumb. Like he's my best description of King Shark, if I had to round up the comic book adaptations of him, would be like he's the idiot mafia boss's brother that does dumb shit sometimes, you know what I mean? But he has like a human brain. Like he's not like an idiot, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna bring in Ryan right now from the Real Burn. Let me get him. Yo,
hey, what's up?
What's going on? But yeah, I was just on King Shark. How do you feel about that? About King Shark being retarded, basically? I don't want to use that word. I'm sorry, being dumb. You know, I mean, use that word.
To be honest, like I like the design overall. I was cool with that first. I didn't like when I first saw it in the trailers. I was like, that looks way too similar to like the Harley Quinn show.
I don't mind the design. I think the way he looks is dope. I mean, but it's just him not like having a brain, not being like an active villain, you know, and being bad, and like, you know what I mean? They make him out to be like, other than the fact that he gets hungry and accidentally eats people, he's like Dumbo, basically. Like
pretty
like
much.
A Disney
like there's no
you know,
there's no like
what's up, Andre? What's up, Jordan?
There's no intimidation to him really that much.
Exactly. Yes, yeah, and his intelligence is part of that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've read comic storylines where he is like a straight mob boss or something in some of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's, you know, like Bane and Batman and Robin or something. You know, or is that Batman Forever? I forget which one of those two that is. That Bane's like the big dummy, but it's like, what if like whatchamacallit, like what if they Marvel? I said earlier in someone's chat, I forget, but what if Marvel did the Sinister Six and made it this campy and funny and everything? Fans would flip out.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that either.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and that's basically what Warner Brothers is doing to Suicide Squad right now. Like, they're making them the victims of becoming a comedy, kind of. They're taking a serious source material and making it into a comedy. Like, it's 21 Jump, almost like it's a parody of the Suicide Squad, I feel like, you know, like.
Yeah, like, to be fully honest, like especially with King Shark, like I felt like he only kills 3 people in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Only 3.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I expected him to be like a savage, to like kill like a lot of people. Like that scene where he rises in front of those soldiers after they were shooting him and he was like about to rage out. I thought we were going to get some kind of fucking cool
like when he just bites the one guy's head.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like,
I thought we were going to get like
I have that in this list. I said total wasted King Shark potential or something.
I thought we were going to get like a warehouse sequence style of him just killing all these soldiers and he bites one guy's head off and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, like, even like, except for Peacemaker at the end, I hated Peacemaker, but one credit I will give to Peacemaker as a character is he's the one character in the movie that at the end I actually feel threatened. I feel like he becomes a bad guy kind of when he wants to destroy that drive.
Yeah.
And I start to take him seriously a little bit in that moment, you know? But other than that, I don't feel like any of these people were villains in their past. Like, I don't know how they all ended up at Belle Reve because they all seem like pushover fucking teddy bears or something to me.
I mean, the only crime it seems like Ratcatcher committed was just like petty thief. Petty.
Yeah, like, and then the scene at the end with her and the dad on the roof and they got like the fucking Polar Express music playing in the background. I'm like, what's happening right now? Like, is this like a Disney movie or is this the Suicide Squad? Like, it just killed me, dude. Like, I was so checked out. Like, I liked it. Every time I started to like this movie at any point, the next scene just took me right out of it. Like, what did they just do? You know what I mean? Like, dude, the Harley killing scene, or the, you know, when she escapes on her own after she kills dude. Like, what was with the music right there? Like, he used this, I forget what song it is, but it's like some really slow, drab, old like 1950s type of song.
Doesn't fit the scene at all.
Yeah, like, I'm like, this should have been like fucking, I mean, even thinking in James Gunn's terms, like maybe Joan Jett or something like that, you know what I mean? Like some cool, like, you know, but
I feel like he kind of misstepped with the soundtrack, to be honest.
Really bad, yeah. And I mean, he did great with Guardians.
He did.
I mean, I seen someone made the point earlier that with Guardians, you had the whole connection to the mom being
Mhm.
from that time
Yeah.
period and making the mixtape. So it's like it made more sense almost to hit with Guardians, which is true.
But
And
even
it's
then, you could have made it at least more memorable than what it was, because it just
I don't understand why he doesn't go to newer music more. Like I get wanting to use like if he's that kind of director that he wants to use like songs in it, but like
Mhm.
there's so much indie music out there now that like he could get way cheaper licensing on. First of all, like he's going the shit that like the Godfather labels still own and shit like that, you know, that like still
or
have
hire
those
someone who
ironclad.
can or hire someone who can make like a killer score.
Yeah, like someone that's crossed over into the digital realm good, like Junkie or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
do that.
definitely. But I'm just saying, like, even picking songs, like nowadays, like music has expanded into so many subgenres of genres and everything else that I'm sure he could find a modern version of whatever he's trying to put his finger on for a certain scene or something like that, like and probably expose some good talent at the same time in the
Mhm.
process, you know. And like I just because dude, that licensing budget's got to be a fucking fortune with the songs he uses, dude.
Totally.
Like that's like, and that could have went into making it a better movie, like
Yeah.
honestly, if you think
Definitely.
about it, I mean that's part of their movie budget, you know.
Yeah,
And he's got to be paying out the ass for some of that stuff, dude. Like
I'm
it
sure.
ain't. But who's like, oh wow, there's like a bunch of people in here, huh? Let me see. What's up, everybody? Truth, Nicotina, Cosmos, Jordan. What's going on, everybody? The links in the chat because it's in there. If any of you guys want to hop in, feel free. I mean, it's my first live stream, so I'm glad you guys all stopped through.
Are you going to keep this as an ongoing thing, or is this like a one-time thing?
No, yeah. This is just my first, but yeah,
Mhm.
I'm planning to like start. You know, I'm trying to feel my schedule out with where everybody else is streaming. You know, I was
Yeah.
trying to pick a time when nobody else would be going, but I know Mad Max is going right now. I noticed that right before I went on. I was like, shit, I didn't want to like, you know, try to go on at the same time as anybody I liked or anything. But let me keep, because I do got some really good points in this if I just kind of skip over the bullshit ones. But
let me hear them.
I really like the scene with Bloodshot shooting King Shark, like after King Shark almost accidentally eats Ratcatcher.
That was a great part.
That was like really an introduction to like, okay, this is what Bloodshot's
Yeah.
bringing to the table, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the very next scene is like the I have no friends and the sad
And
music
Peacemaker and his tidy whities.
yeah, just that whole it's like at first I'm like, I'm mad about King Shark and then making that like a kids movie or something. Like it really like so much of this movie feels like a fucking kids movie or something. Like if you just took away the gore and the curses, it could be PG, let alone PG-13. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy kind of to me. And it's really like it just makes me think like the R rating was the total gimmick. Like it was just there to be there. Like they just thought like we're gonna make this edgy and cool and R rated, even though we're gonna make it like campy, like it's the fucking campiest MCU movie or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like, but wait, what was my original point that I was making? I was like,
you were talking about the scene with when
with
Bloodsport is
King Shark
shooting
and
King
everything.
Shark.
Then after watching it again, like it sunk into me even deeper that I'm like, why are they all standing around acting the way they're acting, right? Like it's just all of them. It's just like everybody's too fucking nice or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like if this was like Ayers, even Studio Squad, Ayers version, you wouldn't see them just like standing around that calmly and that cool and that nice with each other, let alone like in the beginning of the movie, kind of still at that. You know what I mean? Like it just all seemed really fake to me. Like it was
I feel like
fantasy world or something, you know?
Pretty
like,
much. I feel like Air gave a little more edge to the criminals. Like they felt like very edgy people.
Like
no
they
one
could actually be criminals. Like that's what I mean. Yeah, like these guys seemed like.
I think it would have had more impact.
Like, why are they even picked? You know, it was like,
I think it would have been. I think it would have had more impact if Ratcatcher 2 was like the most innocent one out of all of them, because that separates her from the group of like the assholes. She's like the most like pure-hearted, even though she still is technically a criminal.
Yeah, like she did it out of survival more than like, you know. Yeah, like I got you definitely. And I like that about her character. The only thing I didn't like about her character was that scene at the end with the dad up on the roof. Like it was just too much. It was like, okay, they kind of like went a little too far with it being like a happy ending and shit or whatever.
I did like that part though when she was summoning the rats to fucking Starro. I did like that part. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I kind of didn't understand why he didn't just do a cartwheel and wing them all off, but at the same time, I was like, whatever, like for the purpose of the movie, I get it. Like, but then I'm talking like after that, after they win. And I swear that music, it's like the Polar Express, like Christmas Vacation, like the music, like it's like it reminded me of like a Disney movie, like a kids movie or something. That music that plays at the very end there, and then you see her and the dad on the roof, and he gives her like the little sentimental. That's why the rats do this, or it's just like the whole thing felt like it was Pinocchio or something at the end. Like it was like it just fucking really, I don't know. I just was. I
think what Gunn was
so bad, like.
I think what Gunn was trying to do with the emotional stuff, he was getting somewhere, but every time he tried to go into it, he cut away from it. And it's like, I want more of these characters. And I feel like that's what Air was trying to give us before the studio jumped in. Because like you're supposed to, we want to like delve deep into like the psyches of these criminals.
Yes.
But every time Gunn was trying to do that or have them be some kind of a bonding unit of a team, he puts in either a stupid joke or something bizarrely weird to happen.
I guarantee you the Ayer cut is going to give context to Harley that's going to contradict a lot of shit that's happened since, probably. Like as far as like her character development and stuff. I feel like he had a character development intact that he did that would have set the precedent for what we've been seeing since. But these other directors making these movies never got to see it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just like with the Snyder cut. How it concerns me with Flash, and maybe like I'm glad the Snyder cut's out now, because initially when the Flash started production and all, I was worried that Machete's only frame of reference was Justice League, as far as Ezra Miller went, so I'm glad the Snyder cut comes out. But I've almost thought to myself, like, because I remember like a week before the movie when Warner Brothers came out with that article and was like clearly announcing that like this is what James wanted. This is James, almost like they were just in case detaching themselves a little bit, almost, and like I can't help but feel like some compromises had to be made with Gunn, like as far as this, like I can't tell myself that this was all his doing somehow, like because I do like him as a director. I've liked other stuff he did, and it's hard for me to swallow that he got the Suicide Squad and all this was his idea to do this way, without any studio input or anything. You know what I mean? Because it just seems very studio friendly to me. It's like almost like I don't blame doctors for writing bad prescription when a guideline's been put in place for them that's what they think they're supposed to do by the education they've had to be a doctor. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the frame of reference I'm making, as far as like, I almost feel like maybe he was given 4 walls to work within, and they said, you can do whatever you want within these 4 walls, kind of, you know what I mean? Or something like that. And like, I don't know.
I felt like what they gave him to do wasn't really that up to par, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like if he wanted to make a good Suicide Squad movie, he would have made this better.
That's what I mean. Yeah, dude, because Guardians 1 is great. Like,
that's a great movie,
and it's not R, and doesn't have all that extra shit, and it's a fucking phenomenal. Like, that's one of the Marvel movies, like that and Winter Soldier. I'll rewatch both of those movies. Like, I like them enough to rewatch them, and they're pretty much the only MCU movies that I'm like that with. So it's like that's saying something. Like, but let me see. Is that Feyor in the back? Yes, it is. Yeah, it's I think it's an issue of Superman and Wonder Woman.
That's cool.
It's from a few years ago. Yeah, but it's a good. That's why I have it up there, because it's a good Feyor shot. And then there's a Zod one too that's out of frame. This is still a work in progress. I'm trying to get. I got to get a wider camera angle going on. My desk is a little close right now, so that the whole background.
Well, you can change. You can change layouts on StreamYard. Like to make it
like
wider.
How far it looks.
Yeah, like you.
Oh, okay.
Like if you click on, I think this one is like side by side, but it's next to it, you can make it like wider, where you can see like both our full screens.
Oh, really? Wait, hold on. Let me see. Okay. I think that's the one I have it on. Oh, you're talking about this one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah, but see, I got shit all fucked. I got Sam.
Well, I have it too
here, and like it's like, but I am getting shells because I got all my my new 50. I got like the whole new 52 Justice League and the DC collectible guys, so I want to set them up and some other shit and like some Arkham figures and shit like that. Like, I'm a fucking nerd, dude. I got a lot of.
I am too.
I got too many comic books, that's for sure. Like a lot. Like I got some in storage and shit. So I could probably open a store if I wanted to. With my fucking. I mean, I'm no Scott McClellan, but
yeah, it's hard to beat that guy.
I'm a fragment of him, but I'm a lot. You know, it's like, but yeah, he's crazy. He has like a whole floor of his house that's like comic book. That guy, he's fucking. He's got a lot of fucking books. But
yeah.
Let me see where I was at with my thing here real quick. The whole Me No Friends music. Yeah, I was like, why did it have to be R? They're supposed to be villains. Peacemaker and Bloodsport. Oh yeah, so Peacemaker and Bloodsport kill the people in the camp. It's cool. And I even say the whole part with Peacemaker and Bloodsport going through the camp, killing everybody. I love it. Right? It's great.
One of the better scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, and then even when they get in the tent, I think as far as laughing, it's my favorite point in the movie where he says, where Polka Dot Man's like, I imagine they all were my mother and killed them all. Like he just like blurts that out, you know? Like that part's pretty funny. But then still, like I said, like after the fact, I'm just like, but I'd like this more if I was watching like Fast and Furious 10. You know what I mean? Like I don't want this in a DC movie. I don't want this like over the top campiness. You know, like if that was real life, they'd be like, "Oh my god, you just killed all my friends!" Like it was like fake. You know, the way that they're like, and it's like, you know, it just like the whole thing. It felt over the top, fake. And it's not it didn't feel like the DCEU. It didn't feel like there was any way that this was taking place in the same universe as movies I like in the DCEU, put it that way, you know? So,
and something about like the trailers that kind of threw me off was I thought more of the squad was going to be around to fight Starro, but it's only the 5 of them.
Yeah. It's like, I know. Yeah. I mean, it's basically like a lot of those characters. And that's what I mean about the beginning going too fast too, is like I said, it's 3 minutes and 11 seconds in when that slow-mo shot happens of them walking out with the dun, you know, the music and everything. And I'm like, this is 3 minutes and 11 seconds in. And I realized at that moment that it basically felt like, did we just like skip a half hour of the movie? You know, like, and I'm not saying they should have did the same exact thing the first one did or anything, but a little bit of context to who everyone was, other than like a little name animation as they go through the slow-mo shot, would have been cool, I think, you know, because that just confirms to me that like all these characters, like fucking 10 of them, were just thrown in to get killed in the beginning so that he could use the Jim Carroll song from Basketball Diaries for that whole people who died scene. I'm telling you, like, it was just like, this is going to be my fucking magnum opus opening sequence, I feel like, or something, you know, like, and he had the song in his head and it was like, I got to get a bunch of characters that are obscure so I can kill them all, you know? And I feel like that's why.
Yeah, but like, did you have to kill Boomerang in that scene?
That was part of the 4 walls. That's what I'm telling you.
I just hate the fact that he killed Boomerang, because Boomerang was one of the highlights of Studio Squad. And then he finally got to do the cool shit with his boomerangs in the beginning, and then he gets incinerated by a helicopter.
Yeah, even though I don't know why they were like glow in the dark all of a sudden, his boomerangs. Like,
I mean, it's nighttime. Like, I mean, I feel like it'd be better if they were just like, you can't see them because it's nighttime.
But he played Digger Harkness perfect. Like, perfectly, he really did. Like, I mean, yeah. And it's like, why waste that and not even have that go further in this movie?
I thought he was going to be at the end to fight Starro.
To fight Starro, absolutely. Yeah, I know.
Sadly, no.
And killing Flag too, like
trash.
And I'll tell you what, Flag. It's weird. It's weird how a lot of the movie breaks down to me, because it's like I almost feel like some of the characters can be like 2 in 1, because it's like I feel like Flag through the beginning of the movie up until the part where they like accidentally start blowing up the building and Starro gets out, and the Flag after they get down the basement into the lab with the people being tortured is like 2 different Flags almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like once we get to that basement, I feel like, okay, that's Flag. That's like the Flag I remember from part 1, kind of, you know? But like earlier in the movie, like the second slow-mo shot with the fucking rain and like him and Harley are like smiling at each other as they're like, you know what I mean? Like it just it was all just like way too like, I don't know, like trying to be a music video or something. It felt like,
I
you know,
do
like,
appreciate like the relationship, the somewhat relationship established, like the friendship between Harley and Flag, but then it's not. But then it's not explored enough to me. It's not explored.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. And I think Flag's just a little like too nice to everyone. You know, like I get that like he learned from part 1 that okay, these people can be my allies or whatever, but you know, he's still like the military guy. He's not the criminal. You know what I mean? And I just felt like maybe he was a little too like when Javelin first comes in and he's like, "What's up, man?" and like goes to shake his hand, you know, like I'm just like, "What?" Like that's kind of like out of character, you know, like I don't know. Like I feel like he should have just been like this way, you know, and like
I think even people shit. I think people shit a little too much on how Air predicted Flag because like Air was in the military. He knows how these fucking guys
that's
operate
what I mean.
And how they are.
And that's like I was saying about the whole scene with them jumping in the ocean. I feel like Ayer would have had them have some kind of scuba gear or something.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't have showed them all having earpieces and walkie-talkies and all these crazy guns and then just jumping in the water with them strapped to them with regular clothes on and no protection or anything, you know, like
I was thinking
like
they could have done
military knowledge, you know, like
I thought they could have done something like in The Rock when they're going into Alcatraz, like they get those scuba gears and stuff like that to go into the facility.
Yeah, like I'm sure like even the helicopter having them in there or something, you know, like just because it's like why are they like number one, aren't they about to go into like a gunfight? Like why would they all want to be drenched, you know? Like in street clothes, like jeans and shit, you know. And I just feel like like that's a little detail that I feel like Ayer would have covered, you know, and like even the weasel not being able to swim, like it was funny, but it was like right there I started to feel like, okay, where's this headed, you know? And that was like a minute into it, you know what I mean? And I was just because I was blown away how fast they were like ABC, you know, and like we're in the plane now, this is all happening. And I mean, on one hand it's cool, but on the other hand it's like I don't know. I just felt like it made me feel like this is going to be a shit show right from the jump, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Even though I really tried to keep an open mind, but.
Yeah, I was the same way. When I first started it, I tried to like wipe my mind clean. I sat down. I was like, all right, James Gunn, show me what you got. And I sat down, I watched it. And as soon as that beach scene started, and people were dying, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about
this. Pete Davidson didn't even get to do no cool like action, like gun scenes or anything like that. Like I thought Pete Davidson was going to be like, you know, like getting a chance to like shoot people and shit like that. I mean, I didn't mind that he got shot as a comedy actor, like, you know, but.
I didn't mind that he got shot in the face, to be honest. I thought that was one of the funnier parts.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, but then even that whole beach scene, dude, like the special effects, the way the rocks looked that they were jumping behind, the sand, everything about that scene to me felt like they were on like an 80s Godzilla set on the back lot or something. Like it just looked like an episode of Captain Power. Like it looked so fake 90s TV or something to me. I don't know. And even the way the bullets were flying around and the explosions were going off, like if you pay attention at all, it's just kind of like overdone. Like why would this be in this direction and why would this be happening here, and you know what I mean, like that it just seems fake almost, you know, like I just really even the texture of the rock shit like that, like I don't know, I just felt like the whole thing, like I don't know if it's the cinematography or what, but I was just, and then I'm like, how, like, after they go over to Team B and then come back, I'm like, how the fuck are Harley and Rick Flag even still alive? You know, like that they ended up getting caught by the two separate people and everything, because last we seen them, they were pinned down at the rock. And, then you see Harley dive over to Javelin and he runs away. But still, it's like, how the fuck did they get from being pinned down at the rock with all that gunfire to, like, being in those two separate places or whatever for that to happen, you know? But,
I thought it would have been better if like Flag and Boomerang and Harley were the ones who escaped that beach scene, to be honest, or even like Mongal, even though she got destroyed, which was bullshit to me because she's supposed to be the descendant of a fucking Superman villain. And she dies by fire. Like
I know, like just the fire and swinging around on a helicopter killed her. Like she's supposed to be like half indestructible and shit, right? Like I mean, that's how Mongol is. Like he's like, you know,
he fights Superman. Yeah, he should.
Yeah, like he's not Darkseid, but he's up there. You know what I mean? Like it's like, no, I was thinking the same exact thing. Like, how did she just burn to death? Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
and
what's up,
Caleb?
Even oh yeah, Caleb's it. What's up, Caleb? Even the fucking whatchamacallit, like the terrorist government guys felt like fake 90s TV show to me.
Yeah.
Like they were overacted too, you
Felt
know,
like something out of like Expendables or something.
yeah, like it's almost like he was trying to go for like a Quentin Tarantino vibe, but it didn't come off correct because it was like too family friendly at the same time or something, even though it was rated R and gory and had a bunch of dick jokes. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like it just the whole thing just seemed like a mess to me. You know, it's like but yeah, that was my next point I had about the friggin' terrorist guys being like fake too.
Yeah. They just felt like evil guy number 1 and 2. That's all I felt like.
I did like Harley. Yeah, evil guy. Exactly. Yes, like it was a soap opera type cast or something. You know, like yeah. I did like Harley when she first gets kidnapped and they're like electrocuting her and then she chokes the dude with her legs and all that shit. You know, I mean, I know the whole weight difference is a little unrealistic, but I appreciated that scene. Like that scene
cool
felt
scene.
a little gritty to me. Yeah, you know. And whatchamacallit? What was the other? Because there's the other thing about Harley that I was thinking.
Now, the thing that I really wanted was after she escapes and she like kills all of them, I wanted her to put back on the outfit she had in the beginning of the film.
Yeah,
that was such a cool look.
Yeah, I didn't like the dress. And then it's like she's tied up in the bottom of the dirt hole. That was the next thing I was about to get to. She's tied up in the dirt hole, and they throw the dress down and say, "Put this on," while she's tied up in the bottom of the dirt hole. Even if she wasn't tied up, what do they want her to put the dress on down there and then climb out of the dirt hole with the dress on when she's about to be in this car 5 minutes later?
And then it's like, did she shower? I mean, she's probably
exactly.
stinks.
Yeah, like that whole scene just like didn't add up. I know that's a nitpick that, you know, it doesn't really have to do with the plot and things like that. So, you know, that's I'm willing to overlook that one if it wasn't for all the other ones. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, and then Bloodsport. Then when they're gonna rescue her. Like Bloodsport, like does the whole like throwback to the Adam West Batman with the grapple.
Yeah, with the grapple. I actually found that pretty funny, to be honest.
No, that's what I was about to say. Like I actually like that. Yeah, I thought that was like pretty funny that he did that.
He was gonna go old school
because it's like he shoots it and you think he's about to like Batman it. You know what I mean? And, like,
but he starts climbing
up, and then he just like puts his feet on the wall and starts to walk up. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Who was it? Does anybody else want to hop in?
I guess not.
If not, it's cool. I mean, I'm enjoying talking with Ryan, but I just didn't want to be rude if anybody did. Like, you're welcome to the link. Okay, so let me see here. Bloodsport, bam. Costume back on roof. The Thinker. Hold on. Yeah, the scene on the roof with the Thinker. I wasn't a fan of that. The scene from the trailer.
The Thinker was purely forgettable, which sucks because he's supposed to be.
Because he's a good villain. I think you know. I think he could have been a good villain. Yeah, I think Starro could have been a way better villain too. That's another point I have in here. That like, instead of some of the time that they wasted with the stupid, funny context, they could have like had the Starro thing build up slower and had him controlling people with the stars on their faces and like bringing messages and shit, you know, like trying to take over government powers and shit like that. Like Starro is intelligent, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times that's how he starts out as a villain in the comics, is like he's controlling people and doing shit with people, you know what I mean? Like, and that was short lived to just like on the city streets of the attack happening is all you saw of it, like in the end, you know what I mean? And I just think, as a villain, that could have been spread out better and made into a better plot in the movie, kind of, or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, then the rain slow-mo shot, which is another scene song-wise that I think that Pixie song, like he wanted to use it there. You know what I mean? Like
I did like the violence that ensued afterwards, but then it stops and it's like, oh, I wanted more. Like this was the squad doing some cool shit.
I do the whole building thing. It was like it totally gave me Transformers Dark and the Moon flashbacks with the building falling sideways and then running and jumping and everything. You know, like
probably the best scene in that movie too.
I wasn't a fan of the subtitle things, like in the dirt and then
those.
They get on the elevator and the button says "Dirty Little Secret" when they're about to go to the bottom floor on the button, instead of saying like the level or so, it says dirty little secret, you know, like, okay, that's a little too much, you know what I mean?
I didn't mind them too much. The only one I had a problem with was when they were at the location of the building and it had like some crazy name and it was built out of these like objects and I was like, what the fuck does that say? I couldn't even like know what it was saying.
Yeah. Well, that elevator one was my biggest one, that like, because I was like, that was an actual thing in the movie.
Mhm.
That, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was something in the background. It was an actual, like, he was hitting the level to the lab where they were being tortured. And they, like, it was like a joke almost, you know, it wasn't exactly like a title. It was like as if they really put Dirty Little Secret as the name of that floor. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of stupid to me that point. Like, I was like, Thinker just dies as a waste.
Yeah. With literally his whole purpose was just to give exposition on Starro and like die, and that really sucks because they like built him up as like this big evil villain, and he barely does anything.
Yeah, exactly. I know. The whole Milton death discussion, I thought that was dumb.
I thought that was pretty funny. That was a funny ass part to me.
Well, it was another thing that affirmed to me, like, why are all these villains so nice and talkative to each other? Like, why are they all acting like they went to high school together or something? You know what I mean? Like, it's like that was just another one of those scenes that I was like, it's too much dialogue. It's like the dialogue's going too far, and they're making them seem too nice because of how they're treating each other. You know what I mean? Like in the first Suicide Squad, even though they got along and worked towards the common goal, they all still had that chip on their shoulder the whole time. Like, I still believe that whole movie that, like, they all came from whatever respective bad past that they all came from, and they all still at any moment were ready to have their guard up against the rest of them. You know what I mean? Like, at any time they were prepared for one to turn or something on each other. And I didn't get that vibe this time. I felt like they were like misunderstood bad guys that were really good guys. You know what I mean? Or
that's why I was
like
saying,
that. Like, it was like,
I feel like Ratcatcher should have been the only one who was like
who was like that.
Yeah.
That's because she had like the dad, and that's how she was raised, and it was like she was kind of unfortunately born into the situation. Like, it wasn't really a choice.
I mean, we
like,
saw a little bit of Bloodshot's like edge to him, but not enough. Like, we only really saw it when it was with like Waller and that scene with his daughter when he's like, I don't want anything to do with you, like, fuck off. You know,
and that was that the whole scene with the daughter. It's like that. That's how I could tell that, like, it was the Deadshot dialogue, and they changed it a little in certain ways, because it's like he goes from the fight with the daughter and saying that, like, your mother dragged out the paternity test and all that shit, and then like the next minute he's like ready to kill Waller, and it totally feels like that could have been Will Smith's lines and scene.
Yeah,
where it's like with him and Waller.
I could see that. Yeah.
But in the meeting with the daughter, it feels like they made up new dialogue there. You know what I mean? But then didn't think of how much that kind of didn't match up with the next part with Waller, and just left the Will Smith lines, you know what I mean, for the Waller part or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And even at the end with the daughter seeing him on TV, like, I totally feel like that was meant for Deadshot's daughter. Like, that was Deadshot's scene, like, where she's like, that's my dad. And they show, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I'm like, why are they fucking showing it on the news? Waller would not let that happen. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, Waller would make sure the American media never got a hold of this. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and she's like sitting at home in Gotham or wherever, and it's like on world news. Then they're like sitting there shooting Starro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, so I guess like Waller lost all her power. I don't know.
Yeah, she stopped being the wall, and she became like a chain link fence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she became Lattice. Let me see. Starro was good, but wasted. Yeah, I said that already.
Truth said Milton had a bigger character arc than the Thinker.
Yeah.
And the Rat Sebastian, which was pretty funny.
God, between the Rat, King Shark being like Dumbo, and that scene at the end with Ratcatcher and her dad, it really, like, it's like, is this a Disney movie? Like, what's happened? Like, this is like, it's like a rated R kids movie. I don't get it. I don't get why it was rated R in the first place. Like, why they, like, you know, took a movie that had this story and this dialogue and everything, and just added like dick jokes and blood and brains. You know what I mean? Like, why wasn't the story rated R before the rated R stuff was rated R? It kind of feels like it wasn't. It kind of feels like it was originally written as a PG-13 movie, and then a bunch of R shit got added on at the end. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I could see that.
let me see. Team living. Yeah, and then like my whole Amanda Waller beef, like why is the team alive? Why they're able to knock her out? I don't care if it's her cousin or not. The Wall in Studio Squad even would have killed her cousin. That's my opinion on that. You know,
I
like,
feel the same way.
I don't want to hear that it's her cousin shit. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't care.
And I don't like what Gunn did with like trying to humanize Waller, where she didn't want to kill them. It's like I'm sure she doesn't want to, but she's not going to let her guard down.
Well,
so
especially with Savant, it's like, why did she give a fuck? Like the dude throws a fucking ball, and like he got scared and ran away anyway. And like that was the team that was supposed to get slaughtered. So it's like, why would, even after she pushed the button, why was she like, damn? Like, I can't believe I lost Savant. Fuck, you know. Like,
I mean, the only time we saw her do that was when Slipknot tried to do something. She was just like, damn. Just like, damn, like, oh well, like he fucking tried something. There you go.
But even in that, at that moment, her reaction was more like, well, good, I got to show you someone as an example and show them what the deal is. You know what I mean? Like I almost felt like that was more her
reaction. And Flag was the one who pushed the button too. He pushed it with no hesitation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But and just like the whole Belle Reeve, the whole team that's working around Waller, I'm like, none of this feels right to me. You know, like none of it. Like it's like they're all acting like they're at a fucking office at the water cooler, you know, and like joking around, making bets and everything. Like it just seemed like way too like. There's no way this is how Waller would really be running things, you know.
I did like the betting aspect. I thought that was something a little I thought that was pretty funny with them like putting bets on the squad members. I thought that was, but then like as it went on, it just,
if it was in the context of a deeper, more, you know, complex storyline, I think it would have been cool, maybe, you know what I mean? But it was just another like, because of the way the rest of the movie was, it didn't hit for me. You know, like it was just like what? I just thought like it was, number one, there was way too many people there in the first place. Like, why does this many people have clearance? That like Waller's letting these people all have clearance in this room, or offices, wherever the hell they are. You know what I mean?
I mean, the only people that she allowed clearance, like proper clearance for, was the Washington representatives. That's the only ones who knew that she was handling that task force.
Her. Yeah, exactly. And then she
Flag,
had like,
that's it.
There was the two operatives that she shot. That she ended up killing in the first one. There was just two desks, right? She was like bing bang, bing boom. It was the two people, right? So so it's like this time it looked like there was like 7. You know, and I'm like, besides the dude on the computer, what were the rest of them doing? Other than like standing around and waiting to hit her with a golf club, you know, it's like she get the Pete Davidson treatment. Just say, hold on, let me.
People wanted James Gunn to handle Deathstroke. Should get the Pete Davidson treatment. Yeah, don't give Deathstroke to Pete Davidson.
No,
I mean Deathstroke to James Gunn. Sorry, mix that one up.
After seeing this movie, I feel like James Gunn should get like Batmite.
Batmite? That's like his next best character.
Mxyzptlk, like
Mr. Mystical Click. Yeah.
I mean, I'd go as far as to say Lobo, maybe. But
Lobo, I don't even see Lobo.
Still have to lay off the cheese a little bit, like because even Lobo, it's like
Lobo's got to have a little more edge.
Even Deadpool didn't have this campiness. You know what I mean? Like Deadpool had that funniness because of the fourth wall breaking and shit, but it wasn't campy. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it never like it still felt like it was taking place in his real world within the fourth wall, but it still had real stakes and everything. It felt like, you know, it was just, he was the way he was, which is what made it funny. Whereas this is more like the whole world's trying to be Deadpool. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I think there are several different versions of this film that you could have made a better movie out of it. And I feel like Gunn chose like the version that isn't the best. Like there's so many routes he could have taken with this movie to make it just a better movie overall, and he just didn't, in my opinion.
No,
That's just how I feel.
I totally agree. Yeah, basically everything else I said was everything about the end scene and the Polar Express music and all that stuff too, and like everything I just said about Waller. And then the last thing I write is, "This is the Suicide Squad, not Snow White," with a bunch of exclamation points. Was my last comment on the whole thing. Like,
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I feel like Studio Squad, that bullshit extended cut that we got is like has more rewatchability.
oh yeah, I rewatch. I mean, I hate to admit it, but because it's all we really have of Jared Leto's Joker too, I do rewatch it all the time. You know, like I often, probably once a month, I'd say,
Mhm.
I go back and like just watch the Snyderverse from the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
And I do in between BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I usually include Suicide Squad Extended Cut and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman 1. Because technically in the timeline, that's where they are part of the Snyderverse, and that's where they take place. Because even Wonder Woman, if you remember, in the beginning, it's right after BVS, and Bruce sends the Wayne truck, and that brings her in the photo, and that's why she has the flashback. And then I'm pretty sure, it's been a while since I watched it, but I'm pretty sure the last scene of the movie is her on the statue that you see her on in Justice League. I think she's about to stop the dudes in London, right?
If I remember correctly, it's
so
her.
Kind of in the present, it ties right between the two movies.
Well, she is in London, I think, at the end of the movie. So I think that might have a little connectivity to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's what that's what I'm saying. I think she's standing on that, you know, like when she first sees the robbers or hears them, whatever.
And Zack Snyder,
she's like on that statue at the end of Wonder Woman. I think I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong.
No, not at the end of Wonder Woman. At the end of Wonder Woman, she's on top of like this building, and she flies.
That what it is?
Yeah, and she flies off. And
oh, that's right. Yeah. But still, she's in London, nonetheless.
Yeah,
and that's where she's
in Europe, so that counts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's. But yeah, so I often watch them, and you know, and then sometimes I even get a little frisky with it and watch Aquaman after Zack Snyder's Justice League because I'm one of them people that like I feel like Aquaman was meant to be in the Snyderverse, but because everything happened to Zack by the time Juan was really making the movie. I don't think Warner Brothers, like, he never got to see the Snyder cut. Like, Justice League was all he had to go off of, unfortunately. You know,
I would say like there's stuff in
originally like Zack wanted him brought in, right? Like, I mean, when it all started in the first place, him, Juan, David Ayer, they planned it together, right? Like what they were going to do with this. So that's why I kind of try to give Aquaman the credit. Like, it's not horrible, you know. Like,
no, it's an enjoyable movie. Like, there's stuff that definitely connects with like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah, but then you got Mara, who doesn't have her British accent. She has the Ariel hair.
I know. Yeah.
And all that.
But there are even lines in it by Volko that connect more to Zack Snyder's Justice. You know, like I know there's a couple lines in the movie that do connect to scenes that never happened in Justice League that like more connect to what went on between Volko and Arthur in Zack Snyder's Justice League too. So I feel like that movie was just like an extreme victim of the times and what was going on at the time that it was made, and like it sucks, but it is what it is, you know. Like
I think
I don't think it's not uncome back fromable or whatever, you know. Like I think it can totally be overlooked if the Snyderverse were to move forward and have an Aquaman 2 be part of it or something, you know. Like I think you can overlook the little differences, you know what I mean, to include it, you know. Like I
think Juan, I don't know if this is known, but I think Juan initially wanted to make the film darker than it ended up being. But I think since Jeff Johns was putting his hands all over the DCEU, I think he had some influence. And I do know that he was the one who brought Black Manta in on the project, because Juan initially just wanted Ocean Master as like the main threat, and then he wanted to save Manta for the sequel.
That would have worked too. That would have been, I mean, not that I mind Manta being in it, but yeah, I think that could have been cool because they both deserve their own movie. You know, I mean, it could have just been like a manatees in part one. Yeah, I mean, because the Ocean Master story could have stood on its own. You know,
totally.
And been even better because it's a great story. I mean, I even give Jeff Johns credit on that one, on the original story, like on Thrones of Atlantis. You know, it was a good read. But it's a crazy thing with Jeff Johns, because it's like before Jeff Johns ever started fucking with the movies, not necessarily including Green Lantern, because you know that was kind of like a one-off fluke, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, back then it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't like they were starting a universe really yet or anything. So it wasn't as big of a deal that he was putting his hands on it and shit. But I mean, I feel like he wrote like the whole started a New 52 and a lot of the stuff he wrote in the start of New 52 and even Flashpoint before that and shit. Like, I feel like it paved the way for even a lot of the stuff Zach did. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's crazy like how things have ended up that like the person who wrote, you know, the stories that inspired a lot of this stuff are too blind to see that this person is so great at bringing it to life and end up becoming their own villain basically in the end of the whole thing because of their own like jealousy of someone else bringing, like, instead of being able to see that like an artist of a different field can bring your art to life better than you because you're better at the other field, you know, he got greedy and wanted to have the cake and eat it too, and ended up basically leaving us in this whole fucked up state of DCEU that we're
Pretty
in
much,
now,
yeah.
basically, you know, like, thanks a lot, Jeff Johns, you fucking dick. But, you know, I'll never deny that the man wrote some great comics back in the day, you know.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You like the art, but you don't like the artist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else we could talk about for Suicide Squad? I feel like I've been talking about this movie for like 2 days straight.
No, I know, me too. Yeah, I just, you know, I wanted to. I've had people come back at me on Twitter and stuff, and you know,
the Suicide Squad defenders.
Yeah, like the typical, like, you know, like this is the best DCEU movie, and all this, you know, and like just everybody thinks you're a Snyder shill. And, you know,
they throw that right at you, even though
that's why I wanted to make a punch list and be like, you know, I'm going to publicly go on record and state all my problems with it. And, you know, and honestly, like I said, like it might have to do with the Snyderverse a little bit because like I expect that level of epicness now for DC. I expect it, you know, at least close to it, you know, at least like even David Ayer's level, even like seeing David Ayer shots in Studio Squad makes me know that he's possible of that too, of like that level of DC that I like, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'll even give Aquaman credit. It wasn't like this. It wasn't, you know, to where, I mean, this, like I said, it really felt fake. It really felt campy, cheesy, like it was an action comedy parody, like 21 Jump Street or Dukes of Hazzard or, you know, but made out of the Suicide Squad, kind of, you know, and like, I love the Suicide Squad and I love the comic books, and that's what it's really about for me, is that I didn't feel like this movie does justice to the source material at all. And I feel like it's a total like Batman 89 or Christopher Nolan Batman situation where like if the general public latches onto this too much, they're gonna fuck the future of the comics too. Because the comics are gonna, because they like DC's already heading down a bad path with going too PC and shit lately with the books. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they still got the Black Label and, you know, but it's far from what it was back in like 2011 to 2016. You know what I mean? Like far from that. That was like the heyday of DC, in my opinion. You know, like people might not look at it now because there's still that like when the New 52 first happened, a lot of people that were into the old storylines and stuff got pissed about it and were like, you know, what the F, you know, but like me personally, as someone that was even in on the old storylines, I thought it was genius. You know what I mean? Because I know I read Marvel too, and I saw Marvel a bunch of times start number ones over, and it was like it would be the same continuity, and they just did it just to have another first issue or something. But DC really like fucking blew the fucking thing up and started it over from number one again, and did it to where like you got a lot of these origin stories retold in a modern day and age, in a grittier, you know, more this day and age world. And I loved it. I thought the whole thing was fucking fantastic. I mean, there was a couple books here and there that it had its bad points, but I think in the overall scheme of things, you know, in another generation, it's going to get looked back on like, you know, it changed a lot, you know, what I mean? Like it was a big pivotal point in DC Comics history, you know, and I just feel like they're really starting to stray away from like the prime that they were at back in those days, you know what I mean? Like, cause that's what set the precedent for this whole movie universe in the first place, kind of, you know, was a lot of that early, you know, the early New 52 stuff. And it's like the more Snyder went out, the more that went out and the more that went out, I'd feel like everything got more PC, and then it started to affect the comic books too, and like because of the movies, Warner Brothers probably paid more attention to the comics too, and like I just feel like the more stuff like this gets popular for DC and not the direction we want it in, it's going to become bad across all. It's going to end up touching all ends of the company. You know what I mean? Not just the movies. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not a good thing.
And then Warner Brothers will start to get messed up, even though it already is now. And then DC Comics will start to.
I just really hope. I really hope Discovery saves the fucking day, man. I'll tell you that. Like, I really hope Zaslav is like.
Cross your fingers.
I mean, I think about it like how like. If it's not for Toby Emmerich, dude, like Toby Emmerich's fucking ego is so much of this, I feel like. Because I feel like any other right-minded company in this situation would have cashed in on Snyder a lot, like had the Snyderverse been back going. Like if this was Netflix, if this was Universal, even if this was Disney, you know, they would have read the fucking writing on the wall a long time ago that like enough people want this, that like, you know what I mean? Like it's none of the movies they've done since have made as much as Man of Steel, BVS, or you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, how long is it going to take? How many more crappy movies are you guys going to release that do subpar before you realize that like you had the fucking universe you wanted sitting in your lap and you fucking chose to slam the door in its face over and over and over and over, you know? And it's like, it's gotten so far gone that he doesn't want to give in. And it's like, if we really do take him out of the equation, and this new guy comes in, I mean, I think maybe there's a chance. I think maybe he will see the value and see, you know, like all these people want this, you know, because I always make the point too that like when Snyder's movies were first coming out, the MCU had been going for a while. And a lot of these critics and a lot of the fan websites and stuff like that existed and YouTube shows and stuff were more based on the Marvel side because DC hadn't really done its thing yet. You know, so a lot of like these reviews and shit that made it have a bad opinion in the first place that Warner Brothers reacted to, I feel like we're more people that like the Marvel universe because we hadn't become a community yet. We were just starting out with Man of Steel and BVS kind of and becoming a fan community more and more of these movies to where now if they would have just let it breathe, we would have had our whole own side, like the MCU, you know what I mean? Like to where like it all evolved into what they wanted and they just were too stupid to see it. You know what I mean? Like, and if they would just stop going against the grain and do it in any shape or form, the whole thing would flourish across the board for them. And it's just Toby Emmerich's ego is in the way of it. You know, that's the bottom line. Like,
and to go back to like what you said about like Marvel just start like being around for a while and then Man of Steel coming in, you know, people unfairly judged the DCEU when it was just getting its foot started. Like, how are you going to compare at the time a 2-movie universe to like 12 movies that have already come out yet? We haven't even found like the grounding of what this story is going to lead to. And when people found out what Zach was trying to lead to, they were like,
sorry.
Yeah, they were like,
I was wrong. Sorry. I saw that a lot of times. Yeah.
Especially with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League won over a lot of people. It won over a lot of people for the Snyderverse. They were like, I finally see like what this was leading up to. Yeah. Then they went back to Man of Steel and BVS and they were like, oh shit, like this all connected into this grand story. Now I want to see the League fight Darkseid. I want to see.
Exactly.
And now we don't know when we're going to get it.
I know. And it just drives me nuts, dude, because I mean, dude, I remember when I found out I liked Watchmen so much in the first place that when I found out Snyder got Man of Steel, I was like, me and my son both were Watchmen fans, and like we're like, holy fucking shit, Zack Snyder's gonna do the DC universe, basically. You know what I mean? Like it was like fucking right, like, and it was everything I ever dreamed. Like when I saw Man of Steel and I saw BVS. Even the theatrical cut of BVS in the movies, because I got it. You know, I know the general audience needed the extra half hour, basically, but I didn't. I knew what was going on. You know what I mean? And I was just like in awe. I was like, as someone that read DC my whole life, I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. You know, like Keaton was great. Nolan movies were great. but they all just missed that mark a little bit of like really being the comic books I was reading, you know what I mean? And then like Zach, I felt like came out with this universe that like it felt like the comic books I was reading, like at the time, even, you know what I mean? Let alone the ones I grew up with. It felt like the ones I grew up with and the ones I was reading currently all in one kind of somehow, and its own earth all at the same time. But I respected all the changes because all the changes felt like they were coming from a place with someone that understood the mythology and lore of these characters. Yeah. To me, it was like another comic book writer doing an alternate Earth run or something, but I still respected it because it came from someone that knew the history of the characters and knew what they were doing to make those changes the right way.
Yeah.
And
I feel like with Zach's like imagination and his creativity, I feel like he's the only person who had like the perfect footing of what the DC universe needed.
Absolutely. 100%. Like, and it, and the fact that he got the job was like, it was almost like it was too good to be true because there's no other director. I'm sorry, but you're never going to find another director. Like the fact that he like actually was a comic book reader the way he was, to me, it's like a rarity. Like I don't really see any other movie director that has that. Like, and I guess maybe it's because he's an artist too. Yeah, you know, because I know a lot of artists to get in the comic books and stuff like that. But it was like, yeah, like I said, like I saw those movies and I just felt like not like I could have made them like I have that kind of talent he has, but just like if I did have that talent and I was to make a movie of these characters, this is like on par with what I would do. This is
same with me.
He gets it, you know, like he gets it the way I get it. Like, yeah. And it just made me feel amazing. I felt like, you know, this can't possibly get better, but then everything just possibly kept getting worse and worse and worse.
And the thing was, WB,
every time they drop another movie like this, it feels like another twist of the knife, honestly.
Pretty much.
What I mean? It's like,
and like WB, they were into what Zach was doing too. Like before BVS came out, he had those Justice League 2 and 3 plans. They were all gun ho for it. And as soon as the fucking Rotten Tomato score was at like 26%, people were pretty much like bandwagon hating on BVS. They were like, we got to fucking course correct because
it became the cool thing to like make puns about it on Twitter and shit. Dude, I was on a rampage back in them days, dude. Like I got in so many useless internet arguments that I would like now I look back like I'll never get that time in my life back. That was such a waste. You know what I mean? Because these people were like bots and idiots, but I just could back then before like we were all really organized and shit, and I kind of still felt on my own out there. I just couldn't help like standing up for it and writing fucking paragraphs of curses of people and shit like that. And like, you know, you're just too dumb to get it, and you know what I mean, and shit like that all the time, dude. I was like, I just would get on a rampage with people, like, you know, like people would come on there like saying shit like, you know, like Ant-Man's better than BVS, shit like that. You know?
What?
Like, no. I'd just be like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, if I could climb through a screen.
To answer Truth's question, I'm not surprised that it didn't do better. The Suicide Squad. I never really had full faith in the film, to be honest. Never did.
Nah, yeah, I'm not surprised either, like at all, because here's the thing. You know why the last 2 weeks before the movie came out that like all of a sudden like Gunn was doing interviews supporting Ayer? Like, I mean, not that they're not friends, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a PR campaign happened behind this as far as we
possibly
us the Snyder fans go. All the Batman images came out, the Jim Gordon announcement.
Yeah.
I feel like all this Snyderverse friendly shit got leaked out of WB last week, right before this movie dropped, because they realized that like we're the main meat of the DC fan community, like the Snyder fans kind of.
We're a pretty significant portion of it.
And we all, when we really love one of these movies, as I'm sure they see in statistics on HBO Max, keep watching Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League over and over and over. The reason those movies made $750 million and shit like that was because people like us went to see them 5 and 6 times, not because the general audience went to see them a bunch of times. You know what I mean? We were the ones that equaled 6 heads instead of 1.
Or we were the ones bringing, or we were the ones bringing friends and family to see them because we loved them so much.
Yeah, I saw Man of Steel and BVS probably like 1 6 and 1 5 times, and every time I'd take a different one of my kids or a different one of my brothers. You know, I'd be like, "Oh, you didn't see it? Let's go to the movies. Come on!" Like, because I just wanted to go see it again. You know, like that was before the Ultimate Edition was even out with BVS. I was still just like, "It's fucking great. Let's go."
Yeah,
you know, like hop in the car. but that's like, I feel like, you know, they were really trying to get us on board because like now I feel like with HBO Max and the movies, like a lot of people, first of all, didn't go to the movies just because of the already like worry that was there on our side. And now with HBO Max, most of us are like one and done with it. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's going to affect the numbers. I feel like it's going to send them. It's going to send the message.
Like I got done with my
needing us. Like
I got done with my second viewing today, and I couldn't even finish it. Like after like the hour and like 10-minute mark, I checked out. I was like up pacing, like trying to finish watching the movie. I was on my phone a couple times. It's very hard
to like stay locked on it. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I watched it 3 times just to like make these notes, and really, I watched it twice because the second and third were like naps were mixed in at different times in the movie, and it added in the one kind of. So you know, but yeah, it's like it's a far cry from like the OG DCEU, that's for sure. It's you know,
it definitely does not compete. Even with fucking Studio Squad, it doesn't even compete.
It doesn't. No, not at all. Honestly, for me, I mean, I can't put it at the very bottom because Justice League has that spot reserved.
Yeah, but Justice League isn't even allowed to be on the list, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's a close second after or it is the bottom if you don't include Justice League. I like Birds of Prey better. Even though I'll never rewatch, I will rewatch Birds of Prey because honestly, I think Ewan McGregor's on the money. I love his Black Mask.
Not enough of him, to be honest. Wish there was more.
I wish there was more too. And I've also always came at that movie from the place of you're watching it through Harley's perspective.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I felt like it was, you know, even the director said before it came out that it was purposely made that way, that you were supposed to be seeing the whole movie through her eyes perspective, kind of. So I forgive a lot of the crazy shit in it and stuff, you know, but even that still felt more real than this to me, you know, so I give that more credit. Wonder Woman 84, I'll probably never rewatch it, but I still give it more credit that it at least tried to be serious and wasn't purposely a joke, even though it kind of turned out to be a joke in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? But at least it was trying to be serious in the first place, you know, whereas like, you know, I feel like this movie purposely wanted to be over the top campy. And it succeeded, and I don't see that as a good thing, you know. Like, and
just wasn't for me.
Public loving it, I hate it. I'm just like, you know, the fact that the general public is eating it up just scares me even more about the future of the DCEU, you know, because I feel like we're gonna get left in the dust as fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean. The best Suicide Squad films we've had is the fucking Assault on Arkham, that one by Jay Oliva. That's a really good.
And Hell to Pay, you know, like
Hell to Pay, and the novelization. That novelization is.
I got to get that. I got to read that actually because I'm assuming that's probably like the closest thing we can get to the Ayer cut right now, huh? Like,
yeah, it's good though because like the flow of it feels it feels like reading an actual film screenplay. It doesn't feel like you're reading like a montage, which is basically what like the first 20 minutes of a Studio Squad is.
When I was a kid, I read when I was a kid, I read the Batman '89 novel before the movie even came out in the movies. I read the novel because I was like, the hype for that as a kid was incredible. It was unbelievable. It was like, you know, like it's like Batman's going to be in a movie in real life. Like, you know, like it was fucking crazy, dude. I waited in a fucking line that was like 2 blocks long down the street out the movie theater the first time I saw it with my parents. It was nuts.
Wow.
And look where we are now.
Yeah. Now we're here.
Yeah.
It's funny. Squad. Yesterday I just got done. I was at like page 77 or something like that. I was reading the chapter where Amanda goes to see the government officials at like the dinner thing where she's like explaining like the task force X she wants to establish. And like the way that scene plays out is much different because like the dialogue feels more serious. There's absolutely no exposition whatsoever about like the characters because we already got introduced to like a main portion of the Suicide Squad in the
Like
beginning
that's
of the
actually
novel.
story, not like
Yeah.
her talking
Yeah.
about them. I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no. It literally all they talk about is what if the next Kryptonian is bad? Like how do we create a deterrent? And then Amanda
Yeah.
Waller talks about Task Force X and how she wants to.
But that's kind of the way Ayer broke it down. That
Yeah.
the times he's talked about it, like how he said
Mhm.
the beginning went with his. That's kind of how he explained it, how it was going
Mhm.
to go. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I definitely got to pick that up.
Yeah, and then like the Harley and Joker stuff feels more fleshed out as well. Like the scene in the club where Common has his cameo as Monster T, and he like Joker kills him in the novel. Like Joker makes him kill himself. That's
Kill
how he does
himself.
it.
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, he like
I
pressures him
love
into
that
doing it.
scene. I the whole like you don't want no beef, the way he mimicked,
Yeah.
like I love that, dude. And like I always hear people on chat, like I'm pretty sure like Jody and people like that I've heard like make fun of it and act like, why would the Joker say that? And I'm like, they're all retarded because like the Joker doesn't say that. The Joker's mimicking him.
Yeah.
Which is something the Joker would very do. You know what I mean? It's like Joker to a T that he does that. And the way he does it in like 3 different personalities in one shot, kind of as he says
Yeah.
it. But then the last one, he drops like the serious, like, you don't want no beef, and like looks at him like,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be fucking with my chick, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love that whole scene.
But then like during that scene, it's a lot darker too, because he describes how like, when Monster T shoots himself, like the brains get on Harley's face and she like picks a piece off as like, and then the Joker like grabs her by the arm and he like yanks her out of the club because he was really fucking pissed at her that she was like,
okay. Oh, so is that the scene where he like slaps her and shit? Like
he doesn't slap her, but he's like, you're making me want to kill all these loyal men I have. And she's like, well, I'm still your main squeeze, right? And it's this weird, like the toxicity in the relationship is played out far better than the novelization.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I remember in the early days before Suicide Squad came out, when they were showing them behind the scenes, there was that scene where he like backhands her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's like in the.
I think that was during
be in the Ayer cut, probably.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
I think it's during the truck scene when she's chasing him down with the motorcycle.
Okay, yeah,
and she tries to pull the gun on him when he disarms her.
Cut.
Yeah, he smacks the shit out of her. He like knocks her out.
He's like, if I didn't. What's he say? He's like, if I didn't love you so much, I'd kill myself or something like that. He says when he gets out of the car or something, like he says something like that, but he says it like in a backwards way, like a Joker way. Like and then too, like in the novelization, it's revealed that Harley was doing electric shock therapy on him in Arkham Asylum, and that's why he's doing it back to her.
Yeah,
okay, that's cool.
why
I like that.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, though, in the novelization, I don't know if this was like a rewrite by Ayer because I'm not sure like which screenplay this is adapted from. There's no like build up to her meeting the Joker. Like it starts off with her like getting electric shock by him in Arkham Asylum, getting like taken over by his goons. I don't know if like later on in the novel they'll explain it, but it wasn't there. It like literally that was. It
could possibly like flashback because like the scene where she's in the stairway before she says the Deadshot, like, you ever been in love? You know, that whole scene in the stair. Mm-hmm. And that's when she has the flashback of getting dropped in the chemicals and everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
See, that's another thing too, is Leto's Joker. Well, no, that's not. Yeah, because Jack Nicholson did it too. But yeah, because I was going to say the first with the chemicals, but Jack Nicholson's Joker did it too. Jack Nicholson's Joker did it awesome too. Like,
totally. He's amazing.
The whole scene in the underground plastic surgeon, like that was wicked. I give Tim Burton credit on that scene. That was like really. Yeah. I remember being a kid being a little like frightened at that point. You know,
that was probably one of the best scenes in that movie in '89.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I like even though looking back now the effects were a little cheesy and stuff, but like when he goes up to the meeting and like electrocutes the dude and is like, you know, like does no like that.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, it's like really funny too. Like that kind of reminds me of like the way Heath Ledger does Heath Ledger does a lot of funny subtleties. You know, he comes up to the party and gets Rachel and everything. He goes up to the one dude and like takes the champagne glass out of his hand and like goes like this and all the champagne flies out of it. And then he takes a sip of it after all the champagne's out of the glass and like little stupid shit like that, you know, like it just reminds me like,
Or when he's like grabbing people by the face, he's like, "Do you know where Harvey is, huh?" No. And then,
yeah.
great stuff like that.
Yeah. That's and like Jared when the guy from like Mindy and Mad TV, the guy that's the prison guard,
The bootleg Mark Wahlberg.
When he gets him in the back of the club and he does that like snarl as he comes around the front of him, dude. Like that was like his like to me, that was like one of his trademark things that like I loved about Jared Leto's Joker. Like that snarl to me was like, oh, like that was like a good, scary kind of like unique to this Joker type of thing,
It's
like,
funny,
it like,
famously, Truth in the comics, he always says Jared is a sus Joker to him every time he does like that weird shit. It's just so funny, especially when he's like, "You want to be my friend," when he's like caressing his face and shit.
Yeah. Like, but that's like, and then I think about in that part, like I think about scenes of like in the comics, like not death in the family, death of the family, like in the New 52, like when he has them all tied up at the dinner table, like he does shit like the way he acts with that guy. That's like some shit he does do that kind of shit in the comics to people, like when he has them captured and shit like that. Like he gets freaky like that. Like even like with Heath Ledger when he's like the he's got the top tied up and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like and I thought I liked the way Leto did it. Like I thought he did the good like. Even the cinematography of the way that like the screen kind of like did, like the shift, like as if like he had a little psychological break at that moment or something, like I really liked it and I want to see more of it. # release the fucking Egger cut. Like
oh totally, yeah. I'm gonna read more of the book tonight because it's been really fucking captivating. It really has been.
How much was it on Amazon?
It's about like $8.
Oh, really? Oh, fucking right. I'm gonna get that Tuesday. For sure.
It's pretty long though. It's about like 235 pages. It's pretty. It's
nothing, dude.
It's a pretty lengthy novel.
Yeah, it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah. I've read
the whole Vampire Chronicles and shit, dude. Like the Anne Rice, like not like
I have the Man of Steel novelization too.
Wow, really? Holy crap, man.
Sadly,
I want to read Dune. Dune is like because I always watched the old David Lynch one, but I never read the book. And like now that this new movie's coming out, I'm kind of like tempted to read the book, but it's like I gotta have a lot of free time for a book that big.
That book, that story in that book is just insanity. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Totally. I'd probably be better off getting an audio book and like listening to it while I'm at work running floor sanders.
Yeah, audio books they do wonders, man. I'm telling you, they definitely do.
Well, especially because I'm the kind of person like I see in hardwood floors all day at work or install hardwood floors, and I often like shut my brain off as I'm working, and like I'll just like watch movies in my head and shit like that, like as I'm moving back and forth with the machines. So like. Something like that would be perfect. You know what I mean? Like I kind of get a rhythm going with the machine and I can totally like shut off and focus on something else up here while my body's doing the work, so.
Yeah. I even did that sometimes too. Yeah, definitely.
It helps. It helps get through the monotony of fucking bullshit work.
Pretty much.
Hopefully soon I'll be fucking either a successful musician or I'll be scoring movies and I won't be doing this shit no more. That's my plan.
Yeah, that's the dream right there.
But yeah, speaking of day job, I think I gotta get out of here soon because I gotta fucking get up for work in the morning and shit, and I still gotta eat dinner too.
Oh man, it's late, dude.
Yeah, I've actually been working on a mix and master all day for somebody, like for another musician that I'm doing a job for.
Oh, so nice. That's awesome.
Like, finish it, yeah, and like send it to them. So. And then I wanted to do this too. So, and I didn't want to wait another day because it's like by then everybody else was going to be done with their Suicide Squad reviews, and I was going to look like an idiot. So.
We were going to be moved on from it completely.
Yeah, and it's like I've been wanting to start doing the live streams anyway, and I've been like popping up on other people's, and I'm like, I just got to get on the bike and do it. Like, I just got to turn the camera on and start doing it. So tonight,
get some clout going, all that.
Get a little clout doing,
Yeah,
so.
Totally.
But yeah, thank you for everybody that came. Ryan, thanks for kind of co-hosting with me here, buddy. I appreciate it.
It was fun.
And, Truth, Integrity, Nicotina, everybody that stopped by. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
I will never forget everybody coming through for me on my first stream. And, check Ryan out at The Real Burn, definitely.
Yes.
Not to take your own announcement away from you or anything.
No, it's fine.
There'll be more of these coming. So, please come back and join us on SNYDER Ave. And thanks again, everybody, for coming.
Have a good night.
Again, Ryan. You too,
See ya.
man. Let me get to my. Oh. All right, peace out, everybody.
Inspired us fans so much. Girl, the weekend past that day, we had the hashtag up. Release the Snyder Cut, and we would not give up till we got to see the vision Warner Brothers promised us. And then we trended up, despite all the naysay, and made them notice that we were never gonna go away. Kept fighting every day, and I guess that was the key. Cause now we're really gonna see Zack Snyder's Justice League. Release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. It was the Justice League, and you douchebags fucked it up. Release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. Why did you chop it up and make it fucking suck? Now we're getting Zack JL, now we're getting Zack JL, and all you naysayers can finally go to hell.